What if every disaster struck at once? A world plunged into chaos, no warning, no escape. Could we survive the unimaginable? Our sun. It hangs in the sky, a familiar and comforting presence. We depend on its light and warmth for our very existence. From our vantage point, 93 million miles away, it appears serene, a perfect golden sphere. But this placid appearance is a grand illusion. The sun is a star, a colossal nuclear furnace of unimaginable power and violence. It is constantly churning, a seething ball of plasma where magnetic fields twist and snap with incredible force. These dynamic processes are what drive its cycles of activity. And as we move deeper into 2025, we find ourselves in a period of intense solar behavior. The current cycle, Solar Cycle 25, has proven to be far more active than many initial predictions suggested, presenting a spectacle of cosmic fireworks. We are witnessing an increase in solar flares and coronal mass ejections, or CMEs. These are gargantuan explosions on the sun's surface. They release massive clouds of magnetized plasma into space. Imagine an eruption so vast it could swallow our entire planet many times over. These eruptions travel through the solar system at tremendous speeds. When they are aimed at Earth, they can have profound effects on our technological world. They interact with our planet's magnetic field, our protective shield. This interaction is what creates the beautiful auroras, the northern and southern lights. But it can also disrupt satellites, power grids, and communication systems, a reminder of our vulnerability to cosmic weather. The sun's activity waxes and wanes over an approximately 11-year cycle. We are currently approaching the peak of this cycle, known as the solar maximum. This is the time when the sun's magnetic poles flip. It's a period of peak sunspot activity, increased solar flares, and more frequent CMEs. The energy being unleashed is staggering, a display of raw power that shapes the environment of our entire solar system. As we look towards the sky in mid-2025, we are not just observing a distant star. We are watching the temperamental heart of our cosmic neighborhood, and its beat is growing stronger and more erratic, promising a light show that could have very real consequences for us here on Earth. This heightened solar activity isn't just a concern for astronauts and satellite operators. It's a fundamental force of nature that connects us directly to the cosmos. The energy that bathes our planet from the sun is the engine of our climate and a potential trigger for geological unrest. The intricate dance between our star and our world is becoming more intense. The light we see today left the sun 8 minutes ago. The particles from a solar storm can take days to reach us. What we are seeing now is a prelude, a warning of the immense energies that are building and heading our way, reminding us that we live on a small, fragile world in a very active and dynamic solar system. How can a star so far away affect the solid ground beneath our feet? The connection might seem tenuous, but the science points to a subtle yet powerful link. The sun's energy doesn't just warm our atmosphere and oceans, it bombards our planet with charged particles. This stream of particles, the solar wind, interacts with Earth's magnetosphere and ionosphere. This interaction can induce electrical currents not just in our technology, but within the Earth's crust itself. Some theories propose that these geomagnetically induced currents can penetrate deep into the Earth, potentially influencing the delicate balance of forces in tectonically stressed regions and the behavior of magma chambers beneath volcanoes. Think of it like this. Tectonic plates are always under immense strain. They are pushing, pulling, and grinding against each other. Fault lines are often on the verge of slipping. It may only take a tiny nudge, a small additional stress, to trigger a release. Could a significant influx of solar energy provide that final push? Some researchers believe so. They have found correlations between periods of high solar activity and an increase in large earthquakes. The mechanism isn't fully understood, but the idea is that the electrical changes in the upper atmosphere and crust could alter the physical properties of rocks or fluids in fault zones, making them more likely to rupture. Volcanoes, too, might be susceptible to solar influence. The magma chambers that feed volcanoes are complex systems of molten rock, gas, and crystals. Their stability is a delicate balance of pressure and temperature. Changes in the overlying atmospheric pressure, which is influenced by solar-driven weather patterns, could potentially affect volcanic systems. Furthermore, if solar activity can induce currents within the Earth, it's conceivable that these currents could heat materials within the magma chamber or surrounding rock. This could increase pressure and make an eruption more likely. We are exploring the frontiers of geoscience, where the cosmos meets the crust. While these connections are still areas of active scientific debate and research, the correlations are intriguing. They challenge us to think of Earth not as an isolated system, but as a planet deeply interconnected with its star. Our weather, our geology, our very environment is in a constant dialogue with the sun. As solar cycle 25 reaches its crescendo, the question becomes more urgent. Are we just going to see more vibrant auroras, or will the sun's heightened fury awaken the sleeping giants within our own planet? The evidence suggests we should be watching both the skies and the ground with equal attention. Across the globe, cultures have long sought to predict the future by observing the heavens and the earth. In Japan, one such figure has gained modern notoriety, sometimes called the Japanese Nostradamus. This seer has made a number of predictions, but one, in particular, has captured the public's imagination and fear, especially given the current geological and solar climate. The prophecy speaks of a catastrophic event set to occur in the Pacific Ocean. It pinpoints a specific time frame between 2023 and 2025, with a particular focus on the summer of 2025. It warns of a massive disaster originating from the sea, potentially a great underwater eruption or explosion. The prophecy's language is poetic and symbolic, yet its geography is eerily specific. It describes the event happening between two dragons. These dragons are interpreted by many to represent the dragon-shaped landmasses of Japan and Taiwan. This places the epicenter of the foretold cataclysm in the Philippine Sea, a region known for its extreme geological activity. This area is a nexus of tectonic plates, including the Pacific Plate, the Philippine Sea Plate, and the Eurasian Plate. It is a place of deep ocean trenches, including the Mariana Trench, the deepest point on Earth, and a hotbed of volcanic and seismic events. The prediction gains a chilling resonance when we consider the region's known volatility. The Philippine Sea Plate is subducting, or diving beneath, the continental plates on both its eastern and western sides. This process is responsible for the creation of volcanic island arcs, like the islands of Japan and the Philippines. These are some of the most volcanically active and earthquake-prone areas on the entire planet. The idea of a massive underwater eruption here is not a matter of fantasy. It is a genuine geological possibility. A submarine volcano of sufficient size could displace a colossal amount of water, triggering a mega tsunami that would devastate coastlines across the Pacific. Whether one believes in prophecy or not, the alignment of this prediction with a region of known and extreme geological hazard is at the very least a remarkable coincidence. It serves as a cultural echo of a scientific reality. The forces at play in the Philippine Sea are immense and largely invisible, hidden beneath miles of water. The prophecy acts as a focal point, drawing our collective attention to a real and present danger. As we approach July 2025, with the sun in a state of high activity and the earth seemingly rumbling in response, this ancient-sounding warning from a modern seer adds a layer of human dread to the cold, hard data of science. It's not just the sun that draws our attention in 2025. This year, the planets are aligning in ways that capture both scientific and astrological imagination. In astrology, we are witnessing a rare transition from Pisces, the sign of water and endings, to Aries, the sign of fire and new beginnings. This shift is seen as a cosmic turning point. Aries, represented by the ram, is associated with action, courage, and the spark of something new. Pisces, symbolized by the fish, embodies intuition, dreams, and the closing of cycles. Astrologers believe that when the planets gather at this threshold, the world is primed for upheaval, an era ending, and a new one beginning, both symbolically and, perhaps, physically. While the gravitational pull of other planets on Earth is minuscule compared to the Sun and Moon, some believe their alignments have subtle, cumulative effects, both scientific and symbolic. In 2025, planetary groupings coincide with the astrological handover from Pisces to Aries, amplifying the sense of cosmic significance. Scientists focus on the mechanics, how these alignments might shift the solar system's gravitational balance, or even nudge the sun and Earth in subtle ways. Meanwhile, astrologers see these same alignments as a signal, an energetic gateway, where the old gives way to the new, and the elements of water and fire collide. The question is whether these cosmic shifts, astronomical and astrological, are enough to influence the physical world, or if they simply reflect our search for meaning in the stars. As Jupiter and Saturn, the solar system's heavyweights, take their places, and the zodiac wheel turns from Pisces to Aries, both scientists and mystics watch for signs of change. Some point to historical correlations, moments when planetary alignments and zodiac transitions have coincided with upheaval on Earth, from natural disasters to cultural shifts. While science demands evidence and skepticism, the idea of a fully interconnected cosmos where planets, stars, and symbols all play a part remains a powerful one. As we watch the planets wheel across the night sky and the zodiac turns from water to fire, we are reminded of the vast and subtle forces, seen and unseen, that shape our world. The sunspots we see from Earth are only half the story. Our star rotates, just like our planet, though it takes about 27 days to complete one turn at its equator. This means that at any given time, there is an entire hemisphere of the sun, its far side, that is hidden from our direct view. In the past, this was a total blind spot. A massive Earth-facing sunspot group could rotate out of view, leaving us to wonder what it was doing. Or, more dangerously, a new and powerful sunspot region could form on the far side and rotate into view, catching us completely by surprise with a powerful solar storm. However, modern space science has given us eyes on the back of the sun's head. Missions like NASA's Stereo are positioned in orbits that allow them to see the parts of the sun that are turned away from us. This has really revolutionized our ability to forecast space weather. What these probes have been revealing is fascinating, and at times, honestly, pretty alarming. They have shown us dark sunspots, regions of intense magnetic activity on the far side. These are not literally dark, but they represent areas of such concentrated magnetic force that they are harbingers of significant solar activity to come. An intriguing and deeply concerning correlation has emerged from this new data. Some researchers have noted a link between the appearance of these powerful magnetic regions on the sun's far side and an increase in strong earthquakes here on Earth. The proposed mechanism is still debated, but it is deeply provocative. One idea is that these magnetically potent regions don't just release energy as light and heat. They may also emit some form of energy or particle that can travel through the sun itself, or even through interplanetary space, faster than the solar wind, interacting with our planet in ways we don't yet understand. This action at a distance is a frontier concept. How could a sunspot that isn't even facing us trigger a tremor in the Earth's crust? The hypothesis suggests a connection that transcends the direct blast of a CME. Perhaps it involves neutrinos or gravitational waves or some other form of energetic transmission that can directly couple with the Earth's core or mantle. As our far-side monitors show us these powerful magnetic regions forming and growing, we may not just be getting a 2-week warning of a coming solar storm. We might be getting a more immediate warning of a planet under stress, a signal that the ground beneath us is about to move. The signs of planetary unrest are not confined to the skies or abstract theories. Here on the ground, the Earth itself seems to be growing more restless. In the period from 2024 into 2025, we have witnessed a noticeable uptick in global volcanic activity. It's not just the number of eruptions, but their character. Volcanoes that have been dormant for decades, even centuries, have sputtered back to life with little warning. We've seen an increase in explosive eruptions, the kind that send towering ash clouds into the stratosphere and generate one of nature's most terrifying phenomena, pyroclastic flows. A pyroclastic flow is not lava. It's a superheated, fast-moving avalanche of gas, ash, and rock fragments. It can reach temperatures of up to 1,000 degrees Celsius and travel down a volcano's slopes at hundreds of kilometers per hour. It is utterly devastating, incinerating everything in its path. In recent months, news reports have been filled with dramatic footage of such events, from volcanoes in Iceland to Indonesia and Japan. These events serve as a stark reminder of the power simmering just beneath the surface. Each eruption is a release valve for the planet's immense internal heat, and it seems the pressure is building across the globe. Consider the recent events. In Iceland, the Reykjanes Peninsula has been racked by a series of eruptions, threatening towns and infrastructure. In Indonesia, Mount Merapi and Mount Ruang have unleashed powerful explosions, forcing mass evacuations. Japan, sitting atop the Ring of Fire, has also seen its share of volcanic alerts. What is troubling is the seemingly synchronized nature of this activity. It's as if distant, unconnected volcanic systems are responding to a common global-scale trigger. Could this trigger be the intense bombardment of energy from our hyperactive sun, subtly altering the pressures and temperatures in magma chambers worldwide? This surge in volcanic activity provides a tangible, ground-level context for the more esoteric theories about solar influence and planetary alignments. It's one thing to talk about magnetic fields and barycenters. It's another to see homes and landscapes threatened by molten rock and searing ash. The Earth is speaking to us in a language of fire and stone. The frequency and intensity of its volcanic exhalations suggest a system under increasing stress. As we head into the summer of 2025, the planet's fiery breath seems to be quickening, building towards a potential crescendo that could reshape our world. Long before we had seismometers and satellites, humans looked to the natural world for warnings of impending disaster. Animals, with senses far different from our own, often seem to perceive changes in the environment that are invisible to us. In recent years, and with increasing frequency in 2024 and 2025, we have seen a rise in reports of strange and disturbing animal behavior from around the globe. These incidents, once isolated curiosities, are now forming a pattern that many find difficult to ignore. They serve as unsettling, biological omens of a planet in flux. One of the most classic harbingers of earthquakes, particularly in Japanese folklore, is the appearance of the oarfish. This is a deep-sea creature, rarely seen at the surface. Yet in the months leading up to now, there have been multiple instances of these giant ribbon-like fish washing up on beaches in Japan, the Philippines, and even along the coast of the Americas. Scientists speculate that these deep-water fish may be sensitive to the electromagnetic changes or low-frequency sounds that precede a major seismic event, driving them from the depths into unfamiliar and fatal shallow waters. The doomfish, as some call them, are appearing with alarming regularity. The strange signs are not limited to the deep sea. We have witnessed mass whale and dolphin beaching events on an unprecedented scale. Healthy pods of marine mammals, seemingly disoriented, have stranded themselves on coastlines from New Zealand to Scotland. One theory is that fluctuations in the Earth's magnetic field, perhaps induced by the intense solar activity, are interfering with the animals' innate navigational abilities. They are, in effect, getting lost in their own oceans. At the same time, we've seen reports of mass bird deaths, where thousands of birds seem to fall from the sky at once, another potential sign of atmospheric or magnetic disorientation. These events, taken individually, can often be explained by local factors like pollution or disease. But when viewed together, as a global phenomenon occurring against a backdrop of increased solar and geological activity, they paint a more troubling picture. It's as if the entire planetary ecosystem is sensing a deep-level stress. The beached oarfish, the stranded whales, the falling birds, they could be the canaries in a global coal mine. They are nature's sentinels, sending out a distress signal that we would be wise to heed. They are showing us that something is fundamentally changing in the invisible environment that we all share. Humanity's history is punctuated by natural disasters that have reshaped civilizations and altered the course of history. These events serve as powerful reminders that the forces of nature operate on a scale that dwarfs our own endeavors. When we consider the potential for a major event in 2025, we are not imagining something new. We are simply recalling the planet's demonstrated capacity for sudden, violent change. Major earthquakes, for instance, have leveled cities in minutes. The 1906 San Francisco earthquake, the 1960 Valdivia earthquake in Chile, the most powerful ever recorded, and the 2011 Tohoku earthquake in Japan all showed how quickly our built world can be reduced to rubble. Volcanic eruptions have had even more profound global impacts. The 1815 eruption of Mount Tambora in Indonesia was the largest in recorded history. It plunged the world into a volcanic winter, causing the year without a summer in 1816. Crops failed across the northern hemisphere, leading to widespread famine and social unrest. More than just a local disaster, Tambora was a global climate event. The 1883 eruption of Krakatoa, also in Indonesia, produced a sound heard thousands of miles away and generated tsunamis that killed tens of thousands. These events show that a single, powerful eruption can have planetary consequences. But sometimes the danger is silent and invisible. On August 21, 1986, a bizarre and terrifying disaster occurred at Lake Nyos in Cameroon. The lake, which sits in a volcanic crater, suddenly released a massive cloud of carbon dioxide gas that had been trapped in its deep waters. Being heavier than air, this invisible cloud flowed down the surrounding valleys, silently asphyxiating over 1,700 people and thousands of livestock in their sleep. This event, known as a limnic eruption, revealed a new kind of geological threat, a sudden, lethal outgassing from the Earth itself, a silent killer released from a seemingly tranquil landscape. These historical precedents, the ground-shaking power of earthquakes, the climate-altering force of volcanoes, and the silent lethality of gas releases, form a gallery of Earth's destructive capabilities. They are not relics of a distant, more violent past. The mechanisms that caused them are still active today. The energy is still building up in tectonic plates, magma is still churning beneath the crust, and gases are still accumulating in volcanic lakes. History provides us with a catalog of what is possible, a sober warning that the planet's capacity to unleash devastating energy has not diminished. What if these events did not happen in isolation? What if the historical precedents we've seen were not single occurrences, but could happen together, triggered by a common, powerful force? This is the truly terrifying scenario that the convergence of signs in 2025 suggests. Imagine a day in July 2025. The sun, at its solar maximum, unleashes a series of X-class solar flares, the most powerful kind. The resulting geomagnetic storm is the strongest in centuries, crippling satellites and inducing massive currents in the Earth's crust. This is the global trigger. In this scenario, the added stress is too much for the planet's already strained systems. In the Pacific, along the volatile boundary between the dragons of Japan and Taiwan, the prophecy is fulfilled. A massive submarine volcano, or a chain of them, erupts with the force of thousands of nuclear bombs. The explosion displaces a titanic volume of water, generating a mega tsunami that races outwards at the speed of a jetliner, threatening every coastline on the Pacific Rim. It is a disaster of almost unimaginable proportions, but it is only the beginning of this terrible day. Simultaneously, the induced crustal currents and seismic waves radiating from the Pacific eruption act as the final push for stressed fault lines around the globe. On the San Andreas Fault in California, the Cascadia Subduction Zone in the Pacific Northwest, the Alpine Fault in New Zealand, and the Anatolian Fault in Turkey, the pressure is released. Multiple earthquakes, all of magnitude 8.0 or greater, occur within hours of each other. Cities crumble, infrastructure collapses. The world is shaken, not by one disaster, but by a synchronized cascade of them, a planetary convulsion. This great convergence would be a challenge unlike any humanity has ever faced. It would not be a local or even a regional disaster. It would be a global one. With communication and transportation systems crippled, international aid efforts would be paralyzed. Every nation would be forced to deal with its own emergencies. We would be thrown back into a state of isolation, a planet of fractured communities struggling to survive in a world suddenly and violently remade. While this is a worst-case scenario, the confluence of solar chaos, geological instability, and historical precedent forces us to consider the possibility. The Earth is a complex, interconnected system, and sometimes systems reach a tipping point.